Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us for another Monday evening, or it's evening for most of you, I expect, but Monday evening here in the Michaels Community Classroom. And we are really happy to be back. For those of you who have joined our paint nights before, I think you probably know the drill. For those of you who are new, you're in for a treat because you are going to be painting with Andy Jones tonight. He is a phenomenal teacher. And as Jimena mentioned, the classes are all recorded. So if you find that you're having trouble with the pace or you're finding it stressful to keep up, it's okay. You just chill out, watch the class tonight, and then you can always go back and paint at your own pace. We always recommend that for people who don't feel like they necessarily want to try and keep up. But if you are able to keep up, and Andy will give you time to complete the painting, at a pace that's comfortable for most people, then please do that. So I am going to now hand it over to Andy, who will be teaching us the Golden Shore painting this evening.
Okay, thank you, John. I appreciate that very much. And if I could ask you to pop into the studio to
I will turn that off for you, yes.
Okay, thank you. We've got a big warning sign up on the monitor and I can't really see anything there, but I want to welcome you all to another evening class with Michaels. And we will, in fact, be painting the Golden Shore. And I called it Golden Shore because I painted the background of the canvas with a metallic gold. So that's what we're going to start off doing. It is a 4x12 canvas. So this is the size that I'm going to be working on this evening. And that's kind of about the time frame we're going to have to work within. So I want to just go ahead and tell you right now, not to type in slow down because we have a certain pace we have to go at and all the typing of slow down doesn't slow me down. All right, so I am going to use FolkArt Treasure Gold. This is a fantastic metallic gold paint. It is not only metallic, it is virtually reflective. And you can find this in Michaels. It is available in a 2-ounce and a 4-ounce size. So I'm going to put some of my Treasure Gold out on my palette. And I am going to paint my entire canvas with the Treasure Gold. I'm using a really big flat paintbrush here. Do not put your brush in water. Just go directly into the Treasure Gold. And even here on the palette, it is so incredibly gold. And it's a dazzling metallic gold paint. You will not ever want to use another kind of metallic gold once you've used the Treasure Gold. All right, so I am brushing this on my canvas, just working it into the weave of the canvas and softening it out using long, light strokes. Okay, that was quickly painted. It is not solid at this point. So I'm going to, you can go ahead and start to base coat your canvas with metallic gold, and I'm going to dry mine with a heat gun, a heat tool, or a hair dryer.
If you all have any questions, you can want to put them in the chat. I will be happy to pass those along to Andy in case he doesn't see them pop up on his screen, or I'll do my best to answer them in the chat as well. So please do that.
Now, if you are not a fan of gold, you can, of course, work on just the white canvas, but I think it's kind of fun to have some of this metallic gold peeking through here and there. So I'm applying a second coat of gold to the canvas. And again, big sweeping strokes. The second coat's going to go on much faster and cover beautifully. So sweeping strokes, quick, quick, quick. We do not want to spend our class time painting our canvas when we've got a great seascape to paint right on it. So again, smoothing it out, long light strokes, and that looks covered well enough for me. So once again, I'm going to use my hair dryer, heat gun, or heat tool to dry my background. And I apologize for the sound of the heat gun there, but we have to make hay while we can. So I am going to give you another moment or two to base coat your canvas gold if you are going to do that along with me. Or as I said, you can work directly on the white canvas. This is just a little something fun. It's a little bit different way of approaching canvas painting. So any questions so far? We've just base coated our, whoa, look at that in these studio lights. That's just blinding. But that's what the treasure gold looks like. It is super, super gold. Treasure gold is a FolkArt product. It is FolkArt Treasure Gold, and the color that I'm using is gold. The Treasure Gold is available in gold, antique gold, copper, antique copper, rose gold, platinum, and a variety of jewel tones.
Yeah.
But the metallic gold color is my favorite, and just it's a spectacular metallic gold color to use. So anyway, I'm letting the gold, yes, the gold has to be completely dry. So dry it, well, it's hard to, you can't paint really over the wet gold. So yeah, dry it really good with a hair dryer.
And yes, and there is a platinum color, Leslie. I think it's called platinum. That's a silvery, and there's one called antique silver, and those are all available at Michael's.
There are probably in all, I would like to say probably 20 colors. That may be too many, 18, 16 colors. There are a lot of beautiful treasure gold colors. Okay, so while you all are either painting or drying your paintings, I want to mention another artist tool. You can paint this on just about any kind of surface that you want to, but for ease of the class, a stretch canvas is the way to go. All right, I'm showing you here a tool that is called a T-square. You may have seen these in artists or draftsmen's supplies before. They're usually in the fine arts section of your arts and crafts store, and they are used to draw straight lines that are square and plumb to your surface. So we are going to draw a horizon line on our canvas, and I want it to be square to the edge of my canvas. So by using a T-square, I'm able to do that. Now you can simply measure up from the bottom of your canvas in a couple of places and draw a line with a ruler, but I like the ease of a T-square. And so I'm going to quickly measure mine in the easiest way I know how, which is to lay the two canvases end to end, lay my T-square down where my horizon line is there, and we have our horizon line ready to be put on our canvas. And just to show you, it is about, let me see, let me draw it on and then I'll give you an Andy kind of measurement. I'm drawing mine on just with an ordinary piece of chalk. Okay, so you could see that I've drawn my horizon line on, and it is about, oh, it's a little less than 3 fingers up from the bottom.
Pretty much halfway in down the middle, wouldn't you say, Andy? The top and the bottom are about equal.
It's about halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the main line for our design tonight. And then we need to draw our dune in. So our dune is going to be above the horizon line over here on the right-hand side of the canvas. And then it's going to stretch out and then just kind of trail down and along the bottom of our canvas. So this, my friends, is what your design looks like. And we can get rid of this. I just used my finger that I wet with a little spit. So now we can see our design. There we go. See our design on our canvas. So we have our horizon line and our dune. And every time I paint a little seascape like this, it's very similar to the way I'm going to teach this to you tonight. and there are 1,000 variations that you can do. And I see we are going to put my finished project right back here for all to see. Let's see if I can raise this edge up just a little bit. It's not going to want to raise very well. There we go. Okay, so here is our finished project, and I will leave that in camera range. So let's get out some FolkArt Pure Artist Pigment paints. And the first color I'm going to put out is titanium white, and I'm going to put out 3 little blobs of that because I'm going to make 3 different mixtures of colors with that. And I'm going to put out some ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue is what I consider a very traditional, primary, kind of patriotic blue. And I'm going to also put out some pure orange. If you don't have pure orange, you could use, another FolkArt acrylic color that I really like is hot saffron, which is a nice vivid orange color. But let's get into some mixing of paint. All right, so 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. You're going to watch this, and then you're going to do it. So I'm going to add some ultramarine blue to some titanium white. And this is going to create a nice soft blue color. And I got that just about right the first try. It doesn't happen very often. But one thing that's important, and I try to teach you the best practices, is to wipe your palette knife off every time you finish using it. So I picked up blue, made a mixture here into some white, and I wiped my palette knife off. So now I can go into any color and I don't need to worry about contaminating my other paints. So I'm going to add just a little bit of pure orange to this mixture because orange and blue are complementary colors on the color wheel, and that orange will soften our blue and make it just a little bit duller, which is what we want. But I don't want to turn my blue terribly purple. So just a little bit of orange goes in there. But we are going to make a peach color. So I'm going to take a very little bit of orange and I'm going to mix some of that into my second puddle of white that we put out. And I'm going to add just a little bit more orange. It is a good practice to add your darker color to your lighter color and add the color incrementally. It's easier to add more color than it is to take color out. So I'm not getting there terribly fast because I'm adding small amounts of orange because I don't want this color to be too dark. We're looking for something just a little bit lighter than a dreamsicle. And like I said, add small amounts of paint at a time. You can always add more. It's much more difficult to remove it. Again, this is just pure orange mixed into some titanium white, and we are creating a peachy color.
So Gail, yes, the class is being recorded. It's available on Michael's website at michaels.com/classes, but it's also available on their YouTube channel, which would be a little bit faster. I think it'll be tomorrow on the YouTube channel. And Peyton, Andy, I should say, Peyton has noticed your shirt and is calling out your awesome paint swatch colors on your shirt.
This is one of those things that I saw and simply had to have. And some of you may remember it from the Netflix series Grace and Frankie. But this is not the same shirt that they had in that episode. But the paint swatch shirt, I just love it. And so I've got two of them, and they are super comfortable and just as pretty as they can be. Okay, so now I've added just about enough orange to that to make me happy. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on my palette. And it could be yellow medium, yellow light, whatever kind of yellow you have. I just want to make my peachy color a little different shade of peach. So I'm adding some yellow to this. And I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. My orange was a little bit redder than I wanted it. So my peach color was coming out more peachy or more pinky than peachy. So now I think you can see that my peach color looks like a delicious peach now. Okay, so that's what we wanted there. And I'm going to do one other mixture. And I'm not really sure that we need this, but we're going to have it just in case. I'm taking some of my light blue mixture and adding it to another puddle of white so that I have two different values of blue. So this is a very light blue, but it's a soft blue because remember we added a little bit of orange to this too. So you're getting your color theory lesson in tonight. So we have basically been using orange and blue to create everything that we're going to need for our sky. So I know that you all were watching me. Oh, and my good and dear friend, Chris Williams has joined us. So welcome, Chris. I know you've been watching me mix paint, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to make these paint mixtures. And this is probably the toughest part of the painting other than one other little thing that's not really tough, but we're just going to work quickly. So I'm going to give you a minute to mix your paints. The first mixture was titanium white plus ultramarine blue plus a tiny bit of pure orange. The second mixture was titanium white plus pure orange plus a touch of yellow. The third mixture was titanium white plus my light blue mixture. So that's what I have here on my palette. And if you learn to mix paint and to feel confident in mixing paint, there's never a color that you won't have at hand to work with. I took a workshop and we were given 4 colors to use. We had Naphthol Crimson, Yellow Light, Ultramarine Blue, and White. And we had to mix everything we needed from those 4 colors. It was exhausting, but we did it and learned a lot. So just another moment for your paint mixing, and then we are going to dive into our golden shore. And the painting tonight is, the techniques are not very difficult, and it's a very, very effective way to paint a little seascape. Please repeat the paints again.
Yeah, one more time, run us through the paint mixes again.
Not a problem. The first mixture, titanium white plus ultramarine blue plus pure orange. The second mixture, titanium white plus pure orange plus yellow. The third mixture, titanium white plus my light blue mixture. So mainly we're making blues and oranges because our sky is going to be mainly blue. We're going to put in some light blue cloud sort of marks, and then we're going to put in some peachy color in the sky, because I think when you see the sky at the beach, oftentimes in the afternoons, you start to see that wonderful peach or pink color in the sky, and it's just beautiful. So I'm going to talk to you just a second now about what this seascape is really like. Most sea scenes that you see, people paint the beautiful tall sea oats with the little, the oat heads on them and the trailing grasses, and it's all very windswept and beautiful. However, most of the dunes in the area of Florida where I go They're topped with kind of scrubby little bushes and stuff that are not terribly tall. There might be, 3 or 4 feet tall, and they're just at the top of the dunes, and they have these little runners that kind of trail out from them, and they're very scrubby. And different times of the day, you can look at them and they'll seem almost blue or purple. And then other times you can see that they're very green and even lime green on them. So it's this great kind of color play on the little scrub bushes and stuff that are kind of topping the dunes. All right, it is time to paint, everybody. All right, so 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. I'm going to paint the sky all the way through, and then I'm going to let you do it. I'm using a 3/4 inch flat brush. I want to hold the brush by putting the handle in the palm of my hand and then grasping the handle so that I'm holding the brush very, very far back on the handle and not holding the brush like a pencil. If you hold the brush like a pencil, you'll be trying to render something and you'll be very fussy with it. But by holding the brush with the handle in the palm of your hand, you can't be very fussy with it. You just have to paint and let it go. And of course, the big rule of thumb, you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. So that's what's going to happen tonight. We're going to work through this. You're going to get what you get and you're going to love it. All right, so I'm picking up my blue mixture and I'm going to begin over here right above the dune, and I'm just brushing this on. And as I move to the right of the canvas, I'm going to let some of my gold canvas show through. Not going to try to cover it up. I am going to turn my canvas upside down so that I can scrub right along my horizon line. And that's one thing you do want to make sure that you keep your horizon line as straight as you possibly can. And then turning it around and checking it. I wasn't quite as successful as I'd hoped to be. So we'll just touch that up a little bit. And then we're just going to brush this on. Going to leave a little bit of canvas or a little bit of that gold showing here and there in the sky. But I'm just putting this blue paint on, not putting it on really, really heavy. In this particular area where I'm going to have my peachy color coming into the sky, we're leaving that alone. So brush this on, brush, brush, brush. Now I'm going to wipe my brush off, fold my shop towel over my hand, over my brush, and pinch it to clean it off. Then I'm going to pick up some of my light blue color and put some clouds in here. And the clouds are just marks with my brush, and I'm softening them out a little bit. And I want them to look like brush marks. So you could see in my close-up shot here, trying to figure out where my close-up shot is. There we go. All right, so you see that there's some variation in the blues. Now I'm going to wipe my brush off, pinch it in my shop towel, and we're going to pick up our peachy color, and we're going to put in some peachy clouds. And if you're old enough to remember, I think it was Carole King, these are just some clouds in your coffee.
It was Carly Simon, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Carly Simon. Thank you, John. These are just some clouds in your coffee, and soften those in a little bit. Don't overwork it. Don't overthink it. I'm going to pick up a little bit of my blue and put a little blue back over that to soften it.
Andy, while you're doing that, if folks are painting on a wooden panel, what would they do to prepare the wood panel before they paint on it?
Paint it with Treasure Gold.
Just
And let
base coat
dry.
it with the treasure gold and then you're all set.
You're all set. All right,
Okay.
so this is basically our sky is done. So it's very quick, very easy, very painterly. I'm coming back because I've got just a few minutes here and you all can start painting your sky. I just want to make sure that my horizon line is nicely straight and I've got a little bit of blue paint right down on the horizon line. That's all I'm doing. Okay, there you go. So that's a sweet little sky painted in there. Got some peachy tones, got some white clouds there. And I think you all can see that. And it's not going to take you very long. So I'm going to give you, I don't know, 4 minutes to paint your sky. And I will tell you, I need to sit on my hands because I would come back and try to play in this some more. And I absolutely do not need to. This sky is perfectly fine just the way it is. So paint your sky very painterly. Let's see lots of those brush marks and just enjoy it. Don't try to make it more than it is. It really is just a little bit of blue, a little bit of lighter blue, and some of that peachy color, all put on with like easygoing brush marks. We're not trying to blend and soften this into some seamless kind of sky. That is not our goal. We just want a nice sky. And anybody that's looking at a seascape painting like this is definitely going to know that you have a sky. So you don't have to explain this to anybody. They'll understand that the blue above the water is a sky. I know it's tough to realize that it's easy to paint. And you don't have to work, you don't have to overwork it. You can just put it on there and be done with it. I think sometimes when we're doing these classes, we try to, many people think that my painting is perfect or there's something magic about my painting, and there's really nothing. The blue on the painting is probably just a darker shade of blue. This one's just a lighter shade because I mix all of my colors. So every time it's going to be different. So none of my paintings will look alike and none of your paintings will look exactly like mine. We're painting a beach scene and that's really all we're worried about. We don't have to try to over impress anyone. People are going to look at it and they're going to understand that they're looking at the ocean and the sky and a beautiful sand dune. And they're going to be, in their mind, they're just going to be taken away from it and enjoy it. Okay, I'm not sure what Donna is saying there. Would I do different what?
What would you do different on your sky? I don't know. Maybe she said what, maybe she means what did you do differently from the painting? I don't know.
It probably has more ultramarine blue in it. It's probably just a darker blue. That's really the only difference I can think of. But every time I paint a sky like this, I'll mix up some shades of blue. And if you don't have ultramarine blue, you could use cobalt blue, you could use ink spot, you could use look at me blue, you could use uniform blue. There are all different kinds of blue paints in the FolkArt line, and you could use any of them. And you will get a different look, and it will all be perfectly fine.
Oh, she was saying they were talking about the fact that you said you have to sit on your hands to not keep messing with it. So maybe that's what she was saying is what would you do if you kept messing?
I would find something to putz and play in it. And then I would, after I was done with that, I would be like, oh, I probably should have left that alone. That was going to be much nicer if I didn't play with it.
Didn't overwork it.
Yes, and overwork it. All right, so has everybody finished painting their sky? Can you let me know if people are still frantically working? Or
no one seems to be frantic. Everyone seemed to be doing all right.
Okay.
Okay, I see a bunch of thumbs up. All right, let's go. We're good.
We are going now, we're diving into the water. All right, so do not fret. This water is super easy to paint. Oh, Treasure Gold makes a nice fingernail polish. Okay, that's nice to know. We're going to do a lot of this painting going horizontally back and forth across the water. We are not going to be painting crashing waves. We're just going to brush this color on and just kind of scrub back and forth to create the illusion of water. All right, so I'm going to take some of my blue sky mixture. And I'm going to pick up extra ultramarine blue on my brush. And I'm also going to pick up just a little tiny bit of yellow. Okay, so now I've got a nice kind of, I don't know what somebody just asked, how did I do something?
Oh, well, just keep watching. You'll see.
Okay. All right, so ultramarine blue, I took some of my sky color, ultramarine blue and a little bit of yellow, and I've created another shade of blue. All right, so what I'm going to do with this now is I am going to start in the center of my water, right at the horizon line. And I'm going to slide to the right, up to the dune, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to slide left to the edge of the canvas. All right, so now I've established my horizon line on my canvas as straight as I can possibly make it. And I'm just going to pat some of this color down. Pick up more paint as I need it. Pat this on. I'm going to pick up a little bit more ultramarine blue and a little bit more yellow, making a little bit more of my dark blue color. And I'm going to pat this on, going back and forth. To make sure I'm not running too far into my dune. Just pat and piddle this on. And I'm going to pick up some of my light blue color. Maybe add just a tiny bit of yellow there, just to make this color a little bit more slightly green. And we're going to pat this color on. And I'm making little horizontal color bands.
Now, Andy, Carol did notice that you've switched grip on your brush. So is that because you're trying to be more precise in this case?
Well, a little bit more precise, and it's just easier for me to see. If I were doing this for myself, I would probably be holding my canvas in my hand, flipping it around, and holding the brush like I had earlier.
Yeah.
But nobody can see what I'm doing that way. So I'm trying to lay the canvas down as flat as I can, still using my 3/4 inch flat brush. And we're just creating these horizontal bands of color. And then I'm going to lay my brush down and I'm going to slide the brush back and forth over the water, just softening these little horizontal bands a little bit and letting some of that gold kind of show through.
Yeah. Is that a 3/4 inch flat, Andy, or something like it that you're using?
Same brush that I did my sky with, I'm doing the water with, 3/4 inch flat brush.
Yeah.
All right, I picked up a little bit more of my light blue. And so I want you to see what I've got on my brush. I have some light blue on my brush, not too much paint, but a little bit there. And now this is important. I'm going to see how I can show you to do this as best I can. And I am using the FolkArt Pure Artist Pigment Acrylic. I've got my light blue on my brush. And what I want to do, I'm going to show you this way. All right, you could see that I've got my brush. Let's see if I could do it this way. My brush is flat down to my canvas, okay? So when I lay my brush flat down on the canvas and I drag the flat surface of the brush across it trails that paint off in this kind of very loose way. I'm not sure, I don't really know how to explain it any other way, but I'm going to hold it up close to the camera so you could see it. I'm laying my brush flat down on the canvas, and then I'm just pulling it with almost no pressure. And the paint comes off of the flat surface of the brush in a beautiful way. I'm using almost no pressure on the brush, but you see I get what gives the illusion of waves. Okay, so again, I'll show you this one more time. I can't do too many because I don't want to do it. I don't want to put too much on there, but I do just want to show you one more time. So lay the brush flat down on your canvas, almost no pressure, and just let that paint kind of trail off.
Awesome.
And you do need to make sure to keep your water going horizontal. Keep it even with your horizon line. I was going to use some more words there, but it sounded too technical. You want to keep your waves and water going horizontal and parallel to your horizon line. Okay? So I'm going to give you a few moments to paint your water. I told you it wasn't very difficult, and I'm not trying to make this painting tough at all. We have done the hard stuff already.
Yes, Amy, you can use regular FolkArt acrylic paint for this as well. And he's using the pure pigments, which he can explain to you the delights of the pure pigments. But if you happen to have the regular FolkArt, you can do that as well.
Absolutely. The FolkArt Pure Artist Pigment paints are a very, very thick formula of acrylic paint. They're a very heavy-bodied paint, and they have an extended open time, so the paint stays wetter longer. Just gives you more time to work with it. But you can definitely do this with your regular FolkArt acrylics. I like the original formula of FolkArt. There are a lot of people that like the multi-surface formula. But any kind of FolkArt acrylic paints, you will be able to do this painting without any problems whatsoever. So, John, give me an indication of when people are ready to come out of the water.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, but I think it's kind of funny that we were painting this beach scene right around Shark Week.
Right. I'm scrolling through the gallery view, and Lisa Palmer, I love your picture that you have, because that is exactly, well, not exactly, but pretty close to what Andy is painting today.
Oh,
So,
I thought you were going to get a great white shark behind her.
we do not have a great white shark. But
That
those
would-
of you who are painting, how are we doing on the water? In there? A little bit more time?
I can give him another minute.
Let's have another minute.
Okay, because I don't, usually I want everybody, feeling the pressure, but since we're being tranquil at the beach, there's no need to feel all that pressure tonight.
Okay.
A little pressure is going to go a long way. You can use any kind of firm bristle brush that you want to use. I would not use a regular gold Taklon brush. Is going to be a little soft for this. There's no reason to be stressing. We're going to be just fine. And then can't read the rest of Cindy's comment. She came in late. All right. So I think
Cindy, yes, you can use a different kind. You could use a different kind of gold from the treasure gold, but to base coat. If metallic gold.
If you do the treasure gold, and I'm one that if I think something is important or you should specifically use one certain thing, then I'm going to tout it like there's no tomorrow. And the treasure gold is beyond a doubt the best metallic gold I've ever used. It's a water-based gold paint. I've never seen anything like it. It is phenomenal. So highly, highly recommend the treasure gold. All right, we are ready to start painting our sand dune.
I believe
And
so, yes.
if you have ever been to the Gulf Coast of Florida, many of the beaches there are sugar white sand, and they are absolutely stunning and beautiful. And so that's what we're going for with this painting. We're going to have a beautiful sugar white dune that is anything but white. Okay, you just cannot paint a beach dune white. That's going to look very strange. So we're going back to our sky blue color. I've picked up a very little bit of paint on my brush, and I've wiped my brush out well on a paper towel, have not put it in water this entire painting. So it's still good to go. So sparse amount of paint on my brush, and I'm going to put my brush flat down on the dune, and I'm just going to kind of scrub-a-dub-dub some of this blue color on my dune. I'm picking up a little bit of paint, but not much, and scrub-a-dub-dub some of this blue on. I can still see lots of my gold through this, but I do want to have a little bit of a foundation underneath my white sand. And so this blue sky color would be reflected onto the dune. So we're going to put that on there. Everything is connected. It's not quite the circle of life, but it's the circle of color repetition in a painting. I guess that's where we're really headed with this. All right, putting a small amount of this on, scrubbing it in, scrub, 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 scrub. There just is not much paint on here. So I'm going to zoom in for a super tight close-up so that hopefully you all can see how much gold is still showing through. What other color can you use for sand dunes? Well, we're going to put some green and blue and purple and peach in here. So there's a lot of color that's going to go into our sand dune. Lots of sand is like a kind of a tan color, buff color, depending on what beach you're looking for. Okay, so now that I've scrubbed this little bit of blue on, I want to dry everything. So I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to dry my painting completely. So if you want to scrub on a little bit of blue, go ahead and scrub that on. Okay, that is mighty dry now and plenty hot. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more white out on my palette.
Michelle, the heat gun is not actually that quiet, but Zoom is really smart. And when you do a hair dryer or a heat gun, it automatically mutes it.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to the store asking for the magic quiet heat gun, you're never going to find it.
Now I put the item number in my supply list for I think it's the Art Minds heat gun. It's a little bit different heat gun than the one I have, but it's perfectly good. So they do have those at your Michael's store. Mine is an industrial strength one that I ordered on Amazon, and I, of course, over-ordered my heat gun. So it's like Satan's hair dryer. All right, I'm shifting to a little palette knife, and this is the RGM 6 palette knife that I listed on your supply list. It is available at your Michael's store or online from michaels.com, and we are going to dab the backside of the palette knife into the paint, and then we are going to tap, tap, tap it on the palette just to get some of that excess paint off of it. And I'm going to just slide my palette knife along the edge of my dune. And I'm creating that white sand that looks beautiful until you walk on it in bare feet, and then you have incinerated your instep. A little bit of this white paint goes a long way, and we do not want to fill in our dune completely with white paint. We want to see some of that blue. I want to see a little bit of that gold showing through. Just put it on and then kind of scrub it around. Remember, pick up the paint, tap, tap, tap it on the palette, and then you can apply it to your canvas.
Andy, was it RGM6 for the palette knife? I don't even know what that question means. I hope you do.
Yes, it was RGM 6. 6 is
There
the
you
size
go.
of the palette knife.
Okay.
And this is the perfect palette knife that I use all the time for my paintings. I use it not only in my Michael's Community Classroom classes, but even the paintings that I'm doing just, for my own personal painting time. It's a great palette knife. It's a perfect size, and you can buy it once and you don't need to replace it in 3 months or anything like that. As long as you don't break it, it's going to be a good serviceable palette knife for many years to come. All right, so let me hold this up to the camera for a close-up. And you could see that there are gaps in the coverage of paint. It is not solid. So go ahead and put your white paint on your dune. And while you all are doing that, I'm going to dry my dune. Okay, I'm going to give you another minute or so to get your dune up to this point.
Andy, do you have any tips for holding the palette knife? That was a question that just came in, might be.
Yes, I can definitely give you some tips on that. So always clean your palette knife off. That is so important. When I hold the palette knife, right, you could see that my palette knife is offset. I always put my finger on the crook of the knife on the top. So I've got a lot of control over the palette knife. So I grip the handle and then put my index finger on the little crook where it starts to be offset.
Got it.
So that's where I hold my palette knife and put my finger. I do that the same way when I'm mixing paint with it. So I paint with it the same way I mix with it. I'm putting some more colors out on my palette. And when we get ready to teach again in just another moment, I'll tell you what I've put out. And then we'll have some fun putting in some little, some beach foliage and then some color in our dune. And we will be wrapping this up in no time.
Andy, what do you think about plastic palette knives? I don't think you're a fan, but maybe I'm wrong.
Totally not a fan. They are kind of clunky. They're much thicker. The blades aren't as flexible. They can snap off and break all the time. If you just spend the money on a good metal blade palette knife, you won't ever be thinking about another palette knife. Those plastic knives are always breaking or something's happening with them, and they're just it's like cooking with a dull knife. They're just never, you don't want a dull knife in your kitchen. You don't want a plastic palette knife in your studio. So off my soapbox with that. And I hope I didn't offend everyone who loves their plastic palette knives, but that's
Well, if
my
it works
thought
for
on it.
them, then so be it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of always having the best supplies that you can afford. And the palette knives, the metal blade palette knives are not terribly expensive. And I think I would forego maybe a bottle of paint sometime in exchange for a good palette knife.
There you go.
Okay, I want to show you a quick little thing that I'm going to do with my liner brush. And I don't want you to spend much time doing this, but I have some ultramarine blue and either burnt umber or raw umber. Either one is just fine. And the ultramarine blue and whichever umber you have, I'm thinning it down with a little water because we're going to make some little sticks and we're not going to make many of them and we're not going to fuss with them. But here on my palette, I'm going to show you something. Some people, when we talk about making lines or anything like that, a butter knife is not flexible. If you can't bend your palette knife like this with your fingers, bend it back and forth, it's not going to work. A butter knife is too stiff. And the disposable plastic knives from carryout food, those are not to be used either. All right. When you talk about making lines, some people automatically think that their lines need to curve. So can you see that little curved line there? I know it's hard, but some people think that these lines need to be curvy, and they do not need to be curvy. In fact, they're probably better off not curvy than to be curvy. All right, so I'm just imagining that in my dune, I am using ultramarine blue plus burnt umber or raw umber, and I'm going to make a line. And from that line, I'm going to branch off and make another little line. And I'm going to make a little line over here, and I'm going to make another little line over here, and another little line there. Okay, so let me show you my little lines that I made. None of them are curvy. Do you see that? They're all straight little lines, but they form a nice curve. All right, I'm going to make some more little straight lines over here. All right, let me show you those little lines. So you can see I've made some little, I've made a little foundation for my bushes, or my scrub growth, or whatever you want to call it. All right, plenty of little lines there. So you can get out your liner brush and I'll give you a minute to make a few of those little lines. For all of those who love detail work, we've just done our detail work for the evening. We may use our liner brush one more time. I can do a close-up again. That's no problem. There you go. As close as I can get it. Let me see if I can move my finger over it to make it focus a little better.
Yeah, no, we can see it. Looks good.
Okay. I've been looking at things online today and everything has looked blurry to me. So now that I'm looking at these little lines, I'm like, are those blurry or are they in focus? Okay, so anyway, those are your little lines, not too much. Don't make a mountain out of that molehill. Keep it very, very simple. All right, we are ready to paint our scrub brush in there. So everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. I'm going to pick up some Viridian, which is a beautiful, dark, vivid green color. And I'm going to add a little bit of Dioxazine Purple into my green color. More green than purple. But the purple is going to help tone down that green. And now we are going to put in our scrub brush. So once again, handle of the brush in the palm of my hand and hold the brush at the back of the handle. And I'm dabbing this color on using the corner of my brush. Pat, 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 and dab, dab, dab. I am concerned only about an interesting shape at this point.
Andy, we've had a couple folks had some trouble getting Viridian.
It should be back in the stores now. I know there was a time when we were kind of slow getting some paint out, but Viridian should be back in the stores.
What other
There really is
green
good
could they do?
This is just such a beautiful kind of blue-green color. All right, so I'm going to carry this down here just a little bit this way, and I'm going to add some yellow to my Viridian mix, which is going to change the green color a little bit. And I'm going to dab some of this on and let that trail out a little bit here and maybe a little bit down there. Oh, that's looking good. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about there that's looking good. This little bit of mess going on down here. I'm very happy with the way that looks. So I've added a little yellow to my Viridian mixture, and I'm kind of dabbing some of that on and letting it just kind of fluff out at the bottom a little bit. So this is what my scrub brush looks like at this point. Okay, not a lot to it, but I want you to put this much on and then we'll dry it. Okay, the scrub brush color is Viridian plus a little Dioxazine Purple, and then I added some yellow to that mixture down here at the bottom a little bit and scrubbed that color out a little bit. Now I'm going to wipe my brush out, and I'm going to pick up some medium yellow on my brush, and I'm going to brush mix a lighter green color. Just simply by adding more yellow to this mix. And we are going to tap, 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 and dab, dab, dab some of this lighter green color onto the foliage here. Don't cover up everything that you worked hard to put on before, but we are tap, tap, dabbing some more of this on. So there we have that added on. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, I'm going to guess that everyone has just added on their lighter green. So now I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white to this mixture. And we're going to come back onto our little scrub brush here and tap, 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 and dab, dab, dab a little bit of that on. Notice how little I added. It does not take much. And if I quit playing in it, you'll see that you can leave well enough alone without going overboard. But of course, just like everyone else, I have to keep playing in it. Anyway, that's my lighter color put on there. Got one more color to put on the scrub, and then we're going to put some other fun stuff on. So we're just about an hour in, but we're really coming toward the end of this painting pretty quickly. Okay. I know that there's not much to do there, so I know it can't take you long. So I'm wiping out my brush, and I'm going to pick up some Treasure Gold on the corner of my brush So let's see. Here's my brush, and you can see the treasure gold that's on it. Okay, now I'm going to take that treasure gold and I'm going to dab some of that into my scrub brush a little bit here and there. I'm loving how that looks. Andy, do you ever do classes at Michael's in B? What is B?
In Buckhead.
I do classes at Michael's right here in your own living room. It doesn't get any more convenient than that. But no, I do not teach in store. All right, so we've added that little bit of gold on there. I'm sorry, that sounded a little bit more tacky than I meant it to. I was just trying to make a joke there. But no, I don't teach in store. Currently, I do almost all of my teaching online, and I am really loving the ability to do that. All right. I'm going to take my, this is a number 12 flat brush, and I'm going to make a little puddle of color here on my palette. This was just the dirty green that's in my brush. I haven't added anything to it, but I'm going to stick the corner of my brush into some Dioxazine Purple, and I'm going to create a little puddle of purple on my palette. This is very watery, and I mainly have the purple color on one corner of the brush. The rest of the brush is just a little dirty water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right up underneath my scrub plant, and I'm just going to push some of this purple color on and let it dab, dab, dab down into the dune. And I'll show you this up close. You're not missing anything. Some people were asking me one time about why I put purple in my sand dunes and things, and I showed them a picture and I'm like, because of this photo here, because there are times of the day when there is so much purple in the dunes around the Panama City area. It's just wild. Okay, I'm going to show you what I've done here. I've dabbed that purple on and let some of it trail down into the dune. So you can see all of that beautiful purple color here, just kind of trailing down into the dune. So I'm going to let you do that, and then we've got a few more fun touches to add to this. This is probably my favorite part of this painting. And I always find it so hard to leave this stuff alone because I just want to play in it a little bit more here and there until I've played in it too much and overworked it or messed it up a little bit. But trying to desperately stop doing that on this painting.
And how did you mix up that purple again? One more time, Andy?
Purple is just, I rinsed my brush out. There was a little bit of the green in there. So I just made a puddle of water on my palette and then picked up Dioxazine Purple on the corner and patted my brush just to concentrate the purple on the corner, and then dabbed that dark purple right up next to the scrub brush in the dunes.
There you go. Okay. Beautiful.
We anchored our dune with the purple shadow in there.
Yeah, nice.
Just a couple more things, because I know our time is up and I always feel such pressure to be done in just about an hour. And I don't usually, when I'm painting for myself, I enjoy the process of painting so much that time just disappears. I mean, I've started to paint, you know, after dinner some nights at home, and the next thing you know, you look at your clock and you're like, how did it get to be 3 in the morning? This is Dioxazine Purple.
The closed captioning called it vaccine purple.
Well, I guess in this day and age, I wouldn't mind it being vaccine purple, but
That's
this
it.
is dioxazine purple. All right, let's pick up our liner brush again. And I'm going to go back to that brown color that we did our twigs with. And you see, you're not even thinking about those twigs anymore. So burnt umber or raw umber and ultramarine blue and some of my Viridian color. So nice dark green color and thinning it down a little bit. And all I'm going to do is just add a little trailing bit of vine kind of stuff that just comes out from the scrub stuff. I'm sure this is how that stuff creeps along and how it maintains and makes the sand dunes. But a little bit of this stuff just trailing out a few little places here and there. Right, so you could see those little green marks that I made. There's some of them over here. There's one there, a little bit down here and some there. This is the stuff that just adds those extra little bits of interest to your painting. So to put some of those little greeny things in your dunes. And then we've got just a couple of more little fun things to do, or things that I think are fun. Hopefully you'll think they're fun too. All right, let me know when people are ready to move on, John. I don't think it's going to take them very long to add a couple of little dabs of dark.
Yeah, I think, yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, all right. So I've got my number 12 flat brush and I've rinsed it out in my basin, blotted it on my shop towel, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that peachy color that we used in the sky. And I'm going to brush some of that peachy tone onto my dune. So just a little bit of very thin peachy color going on the dune. It's not everywhere, but it is just kind of on the front little portions of the dune. Okay, so there we have our peach color on the dune, and that would be the peach color reflecting from the sky into the dune. Okay, and one last fun thing to do, but I'll give people a moment to put that little peachy color on. And if you are painting along with me tonight, when you're done with your painting, I would love it, in addition to the hashtags that Jimena mentioned earlier, hashtag Make It With Michaels, hashtag Plaid Crafts. There was another hashtag, John.
I think Michael's classes, right?
Oh, Michael's classes. If you would also hashtag Let's Paint Challenge. That's LETS, no apostrophe, paint challenge, all one word. That will show up in the Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group. And if you're not a member of that group, I suggest that you go join us, because either I teach there most often twice a week, and Chris Williams also teaches it there. Hashtag Let's Paint Challenge will put you in our Facebook group. So last thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to come back with some white and make our dunes pop a little bit more. So back of the palette knife into the white, tap, tap, tap on the palette to take some of that excess paint off. And I'm just going to put some of this white right over some of that peach and just add a little bit stronger white in a few places. Notice that there's strong white here. There's some peachy tones really showing through, and there's more strong white here. That's what we want, some variation and some variety. You do not want everything to look alike. That would make your painting boring, and we want anything but a boring painting. Just putting a little bit more white paint on here and there, just to make it pop a little bit more. And if you don't like gold showing through, you can cover up some of that gold in a few places here and there. But I love the gold, and I want to show you one last thing with the treasure gold. So let me get my giant base coating brush out. And I do this oftentimes if I'm not going to frame a painting. If I've painted something on a gallery wrapped canvas, or if I've just got a canvas panel or something that I'm not going to frame, I will take my big base coating brush and I will load it up with an ample amount of treasure gold on it. And then I lay the brush, let's see if I could show you this and make you understand. This part of the brush right here, the middle of the flat surface of the brush, not at the edge, but middle of the brush. Pick up your paint there, and then there's a good amount of paint on the brush. And then I simply tap this right along the edge of the canvas. Tap, 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 slapping that brush on, and it puts a very interesting looking kind of, I think of it as like a bezel on a piece of jewelry, but that little bit of gold framing right around the edge that's just dabbed on. And some of this is going to show much better because there's paint right along the edge, especially up here at the top. You can really see that. It is irregular and it is thick on there. Let me show you what it looks like on this painting here. So load your big flat brush with a nice amount of the treasure gold, and then tap, tap, tap that on. And you got to have enough paint, and you got to be fearless. But you could see how that gold is just edged right up over the paint, and it is very irregular. And I think it just caps off the painting in a nice way, and you can get away with it with gold, whereas other colors and things like that, sometimes you can't. But gold is the exception to the rule, and you can get away with being kind of exuberant with it. But I think that's a fun way to trim out and frame your painting if you're not going to drop it into a frame. All right, so that is how we finish up our Golden Shore with the FolkArt Treasure Gold and FolkArt Pure Artist Pigments. So also, if you liked your painting, do another one. Give yourself, paint it within a week, I would say. And if you do it within a week, you should have a much easier time doing it the second time. And I think you'll like it because you will have made the adjustments to the painting that you couldn't do while you were trying to learn what to do painting along tonight. Okay, so that is Golden Shores. I hope that you had fun tonight, and we look forward to having you back. Let's see, next week.
Yeah, can you give us a preview of Emma's painting next week?
Okay, Emma is doing the Summer Watermelon next week. So it's a nice, vibrant painting, wildly different than what I've done. So join Emma Monday night at 7 Central Time, right here in the Michaels Community Classroom, and she will be doing a Summer Watermelon with you.
Yes, she will. So that's one of the fun things about this class is you get different teachers do wildly different approaches, and everything is
something to learn from all of us.
That's right, exactly.
We all have different tips, tricks, and techniques, and we try to teach it all to you.
So one more pitch for the Plaid Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group. If you enjoyed learning from Andy, he teaches Lunch and Learns in there twice a week. We have quite literally hundreds of lessons at this point that you can choose from. So please go to Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group and join that if you like more of this. And we hope to continue to see you on Monday nights right here in the Michaels classroom as well.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.